call it MAMPU, Malaysia Administrative Modernization Management Planning Unit, who start the initiative come up with the policies on 4.0, especially on ICT development. So we start, MAMPU is one of the prominent government agency in Malaysia that is responsible for modernizing and reforming the public sector. And then this public sector ICT Strategic Plan, PSICTSA, is a 5-year plan. You can see in the 11 Malaysian plan. It's outline the strategic direction of the implementation of IT practices and policies, especially in public sector. And then this focus area identify to transform public sector to be more efficient and productive. And then if you can see here, we have 6 strategic trusts. This is for example, strengthening infrastructure, re-engineering economy, and another one is capitalizing on local authorities and enhancing project management for better and faster outcomes. And then for next slide, we can see, okay, what is a public ICT, public sector ICT vision? Of course, towards the quality public service delivery to use of ICT and multimedia. And then we have the objective to efficient and effective online service, streamlining internal process and change work habits, and connect agencies through secure communication and network. For your information, our 11 nation plan come to the end of the 5 years period. So for next year, we are going to move to the 12th Malaysian plan, whereby we are focusing on the revised framework. However, to share with everybody on the application of what we have done for the 5 years in 11 Malaysian plan is that for next slide. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So ICT policy, public sector ICT policy comprises many areas: strategic plan, governance, application, security, government ICT policy framework, infrastructure, and procurement. So for slide number 9, this is how we come up with the policies, whereby we start with the surveys done to get to know the ICT perception, ICT expectation, and ICT inspiration. Here we roll down the ICT perception, looking at on the personnel, the skills, the application and development in public sector, the initiative, the application itself. But the ICT expectation, we focus on the IT profession, the clear direction of competency, and also the disruptive technology, use of the disruptive technology. About the inspiration, Mampu empower Mampu as ICT transformation center for public sector. So we want to look on the establishment of agency, the collaboration of agency, building the ICT development framework. So for the next slide, we also look on the public sector ICT opportunities. Okay. Next slide. Okay, thank you. So Malaysia aspires toward the realization of the digital government by combining business and technology, okay, to enhance the citizen-centered service delivery system by eliminating bureaucracy, red tapes, expanding service coverage, and improving accountability. So in this public sector ICT opportunities, we have people, process, and technology. In aspiration, the interdepartmental cooperation between agency and ministries is crucial to the realization of digital government. That's why we come up with these ICT opportunities that comprise on the people, the competency itself, their process, their performance measures and evaluation, and the technology used in public sector. Okay, for the next slide. Okay, the Malaysia Administrative Modernisation and Management Planning Unit mampu outline key goals in digital, data, cloud and cyber security in the public sector ICT strategic plan. So actually this plan is the outline, the strategic direction of implementation of ICT practices and policies in the public sector. Okay, you look on the strategic, this strategy emphasize the consolidation of efficiency and services effectiveness that enables of high impact delivery system. Okay, so this plan also introduced the new ICT vision that is in line in the National Transformation Agenda that visualize Malaysia as a development country by the year 2020. So this, when we craft this plan, we look at and the strategies and program that serve as guideline for various ministry. That's why for today's, we have a lot of agencies and ministries come up with the initiative on ICT development. Throughout my slide, I will share some of the initiative done by our government. And then this feature like ICT during that time, of course, to shift the thought platform towards ambient computing, take advantage, and then of course to get the to have the specific tools and business processes in changing of the new result technology such as mobile, cloud computing, and wearables. Okay. We look at the next slide, the ICT technology trends. Why was the public sector ICT strategic plan developed? Okay, of course, this one, the theme is humanizing digital services. It's in line with the aspiration of the 11 mentioned plan and the concept of citizen-centric public service. So our interest is that to place the citizens in the forefront of the public service delivery system, and then these data are collected based on an interview done with CEOs to get feedback of ICT requirement, and then from there we look on the digital workspace, multinational citizen engagement, open any data, digital government platform that we have, then Internet of Things. So this one is a before we craft on the ICT strategic development, we need to look on the trends itself happened during that time. Then, as I mentioned before, that this is the fourth platform computing. We got the information on these disruptive technologies and the service itself happen in the government. So to look on the narrow down, we go to the public sector ICT strategic direction. Okay. Okay. Next one. Yes, next one. Okay. This is the public sector ICT framework 2016 and 2020. So still now we are using this as our basic to craft the framework that consists of ICT vision, strategic trust, enabling ecosystem, basic principle. Look here, we have the digital government, and then the ICT vision go to support 11 mission plan. We have also the professional capable workforce, the data-driven government, and then on the enabling ecosystem, there is a strategy element to support enable to successful implementation of ICT initiative, and then next principle, of course, the underlying guiding factors in implementation. This one is a framework of IT in 2016 and 2020. Okay, next one. Okay, to look on the details and inclusive digital government spearheading citizen-centric, as I mentioned, of course, to support the vision, technology trends, disruptive technology, digital industry-based economy, changes happen in culture and demographic, the high expectation, and a more sophisticated citizen needs. So these are the drivers that include in the government's citizen-centric service delivery. Next slide. Okay. In the ICT Strategic Trust, of course, still in the morning, so I would like to share with you for the beginning on the what we have in the government. Then after that, we will zoom to the details of the national policy of current what we have in government. So this is the ICT Strategic Trust and their objectives to identify optimal usage of ICT to achieve maximum benefits and result. So you can see here the tier T1, T2, T3 and T5 integrated on the integrated services, data-driven, shared service and strengthening cybersecurity, the collaborative ICT governance and professional capable workforce. And then for the next slide. Okay. How enabling ecosystem works. The conducive ecosystem is required to support and enable the successful implementation of the strategic trust. So here we have some in Bahasa Malaysia, we come up with the checklist, the change management, the service, the measurement itself, the collaboration to look on the cyber security implementation. And for the next slide, our basic principle is that the implementation should be guided by the following underlying 7 principles. So one of that, again, the citizen-centric, data-centric, the ICT compliance, green technology, the innovation, and open source. These are the basic principles crafting our framework. We start with the, you can see the blue color over there. This is the principle of the ICT strategic direction. And then to go detail on the public sector ICT strategies program that support the framework for the slide 20. Okay. Next one. Okay. The summary of strategic trust, strategies and program. So we can see here we have 5 strategic. We start with the integrated digital services. And then from there, we have 12 strategies. Actually, I'm not going to touch on the details of the strategies, but some of that is enhanced government digital services, the usage of digital services. And then we look at the T3, optimize shared services and strengthening cybersecurity. Among of the programs, we have 8 programs. Of course, the strategies looking on the infrastructure, the communication capability. For the strategic 5, look at on the skills and the capability of the workforce. Of course, managing the public sector ICT personnel and develop and ICT talent in public sector. So for us, for Mampu, for the government, of course, they need to support with some initiative programs that run this strategic plan smoothly. And then I would like to share with you the ICT strategic target, among the strategic target for slide 22. Okay. Okay, so this is the ICT strategic targets. We have 10 to be achieved by year 2020, right? So we have the details actually, but in summary, so this one is the 10 strategic trust that given to the agencies and ministry, and then of course we have clustered it. according to the function of certain ministries. And then look at the initiative on big data. We have 20 initiative, and then hub for management and sharing of data. So again, I would like to stress that this ICT framework is a craft to get the collaboration, and then from the ministry and agencies. And from there, we implement certain programs that support the ICT and of course the digital development in Malaysia. To look on the updates framework, okay, maybe next we go to the next slide. Okay, the latest will be launched soon. Okay, next slide. Okay, these are the can say that the Malaysia Digital Economic Blueprint framework that will be launched most probably end of this month. Okay, this one is an extensive engagement session involving 23 ministries, 21 government agencies, 7 state governments, and 460 companies, institutions, technology providers will help to develop the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint and 4IR policy. This one, of course, still embargo that we're going to launch it soon after we got the approval from the Prime Ministers. And then of course from here we need to also to craft on the budget, on the initiative, on the programs that suits with the implementation of Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint framework. This is the latest one that I would like to share with you. On the objective, of course, important to encourage players to become creators, users and adopters of innovative and business model. And then harness human capital. Again, we talk about skills, even though the previous presentation we highlight on the ICT development by government. So from there, certain ministries, engaging updates the framework using the new, the fresh of initiative, the current initiative, we're looking at the current initiative. And after that, again, to nurture an integrated ecosystem that allows society to adopt digital economy, especially during this pandemic. Challenges happening, especially to the industry. So that's why we craft this Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint to include together with the companies, institutions and technology providers. And then next one. Okay. From here, the key points is that if you look at the 4 cross-sectoral policy responses identified in the areas. For example, you look on the talent, infrastructure, regulation, and technology support. This one including the technology support, including funds, incentive, and non-physical support. And then we have 16 strategies identified and 32 initiatives to prepare the business, society, and public sector for 4IR. Then to roll out the 4IR agenda, this study has identified 10 sectoral focus where the impact of 4IR is largely felt on the ground by business and the people. Then the recommendation considered the existing socio-economic contribution of the sector, global trends in terms of technology shift and potential integration into the global chain, and also we look at the local technology providers inputs and where they foresee market growth for our technologies for next 5 years. So again, this framework does not preclude real estate, arts, entertainment. However, this we have focused on these 5 core technologies in the next 5 to 10 years plan. And then this recommendation consider the applicability of this technology cross sector as well as Malaysia development's needs. Okay. This recently we have announced the budget on the digital initiative, especially on the digital initiative. We go to the next slide, the outlook for budget 2020. Okay, thank you. So hopefully I'm not too fast presenting this initiative. I know maybe too many inputs share, but just to get the main initiative, main ideas first, and after that we will zoom to the some details and sharing. And then this budget, of course, for Malaysia, our budget initiative overview of the economic and physical policies in budget 2020 that will have an impact on businesses especially. So the government has put together an expansionary budget 2021 amid the challenging health and economic climate the country is facing. So this year budget is focused on investing in the public healthcare system, helping vulnerable individuals, enterprises, and industries adversely affected by the pandemic, stimulating economic activities to provide jobs and business activities to drive growth and recovery in 2021. Uh, I also highlight this outlook for budget because it also related with digitalization efforts. When we go to the next slide, this is example whereby our budget for 2021 has exposed the needs for resilience in our infrastructure especially. So our strong focus on digitalization, infrastructure and the adoption of emerging technologies signifies the government commitment to steer economic recovery for businesses, again to strengthen the country overall economic resilience. So here is one of the digitalization efforts in our budget. We focus on the digital infrastructure or certain amount given to the initiative. When you see, for example, you can have a look on the Prihati program that alleviate the financial burden of B40. B40 is those income below 5,000. We call it in Malaysia B40, M40, middle income, okay, below income, and also we call it T20. We more focus on B40 whereby the income is the income is between 3,000 and below. Right, so a lot of focusing on the digitalization to support the ICT and also the 4.0 initiative policy. So the next slide, we look on the digital adoption, whereby in our budget, also craft, given the sum of the budget allocation to the industry digital agencies, government ministries to support the digitalization efforts, and our focus again on the upskilling part, okay, the workforce labor, workforce. So for the next slide is the digital upskilling. Government also provide allocation for quality education. Some of we call it TVET, right? Some of the skills, okay, some of the government initiative, for example, on the practical education learning, you call it TVET. Then after that, some allocation also given to the MDEC. MDEC is one of the government agencies, and the HRDF, Human Resource Development Fund for training, the automation system, and so on. So what I'm going to tell everybody that to craft as a government, of course, we need to come up with the initiative. I think the perspective, the perception, the requirement, especially the collaboration, not only government, but what are the business industry that we're going to focus with. So, for example, you look on the Human Resource Development Fund, HRDF, are focusing on the training. and on the giving the training. So that's why government have allocate some of the budget initiative towards the automation to support the digitalization effort. And for current status that in 4.0, HREF also have a certain program, we call it High Rise Forward. Whereby it's focusing on the digital training itself, precisely on the digital training. That's why I would like to share that this is the effort not only come from government, also come from this ministry as well to support whatever policies that we have crafted. Okay. And then we go to the next one, the way forward. Of course, we look on the three main way forward of our budget, of our digitalization effort. Of course, to drive greater growth and adoption of emerging technologies. And then for digitalization, is a core business operation toward enhancing business agility that of course, industry agencies must take the holistic views of digital with a mindset of constant innovation and technology integration. And then the prioritized digital adoption in cooperation by first identifying what are essential capabilities for themselves, for employees and for customers. Okay, we look on the also on the prioritizing investment in digital infrastructure, innovative solution to support new ways of working. And then on the investment in the non-physical infrastructure such as cybersecurity, intellectual property protection, data management, also a key in building trust between business and customer and improving business resilience and reduce risk of financial loss. Then strengthening e-commerce capability to increase customer base, right? Because customers are now more social empowered. Then we need to look on the, particularly for the trend, for the expandable and improvement of the technology. Then you can see that our way forward of this budget, of course, to have the digital, particularly cooperation, virtual by adding digital products, flexible by increasing contingent workers, employee orientated, and lean by decreasing headcounts. So these are the aim, the way forward of our budget. Okay, next one. I think this is what have mentioned. I will become our main topic here is the industrial forward. Why industrial forward? Because we name it Industry 4.0 forward. That's why we don't want to the brand for Malaysia. We brand our initiative for Industry 4.0 implementation as Industrial Forward. So I'm going to use the theme of Industrial Forward as a name of Malaysian initiative. So before we craft the Malaysian national policy, maybe I would like to share with you some videos that maybe can organizer can play the videos for you.
Imagine your industry. You've embraced Industrial Revolution 4.0 and automation. Believe me, we can become a very successful state. That we need to be ready for the next generation of things.
A lot of our industry now is moving forward into Industry 4.0.
Technology itself is very crucial for us to be able to be more competitive.
It's already part of modernization. The industry must go forward.
To participate in the Industry Forward Assessment is because we know where are we going.
To assess our readiness level, whether we are really ready.
All angles of manufacturing, management, and human resources is covered.
We know where the gaps are so that we can make our plan how we want to move forward.
It also has shortened our period to assess our readiness and expedite our process to adopt the Industry 4.0.
Basically, is to make our company relevant and sustainable in the next 10-20 years.
And that is very important because everything moves so fast. You have to catch up.
This is about embracing the new industry. We can still do this if you are ready to embrace the Industry 4.0.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, organizer. You are ready to embrace the 4.0. So we start the implementation of 4.0, the policies as a government. Are we ready to calculate that the 4.0 initiative to our partner, to our industry? So that's why for Malaysia, we start with Malaysia National Policy, whereby we look on the initiative done by our countries, our member countries. For example, we look on the Germany Industry 4.0 as a national strategic initiative to drive digital manufacturing forward by increasing digitization and interconnection of products, value business model. And if you look on the country such as France, launched their initiative in 2015 to support companies to deploy digital technologies and transform companies and business model, as well as to modernize production practices by 5 pillars. Maybe I can share with you. One of the pillars is help companies adopt the new paradigm, the employee training in France, and strengthening international cooperation around standards. If you look on the initiative, for example, in Sweden, launched a smart industry, they call it smart industry. It's a strategic initiative by government to strengthen Sweden's capacity for change and competitiveness in a shifting landscape for manufacturing and production. So, among the focus area for Sweden is Industry 4.0 itself, whereby companies in the Swedish industrial sector are to be leaders of the digital transformation for sustainable production, for skills, and so on. Maybe we can have a sharing on in Japan, for example. As you know that Japan, they have the 5th Science of Technology Basic Plan. They call it the 5th Science and Technology Basic Plan, endorsed in January 2016, that aims to drive the realization of Society 5.0 and Japan vision for the next steps in human evolution after hunter-gatherer, agrarian, industrial, and information society stages. And then for Japan, it will enhance industrial competitiveness and help the establishment of societies and more attuned to individuals' needs. Okay. And then maybe last, I would like to share with you Singapore, for example, to help manufacturers to take the first step on their transformation journey. That's why they launched the Smart Industry Readiness Index. They call it SIRI. And it's accompanying assessment metrics. They have the assessment metrics. And this assessment metric is the world's first self-diagnostic Industry 4.0 tools that helps companies evaluate their current digital maturity, benchmark themselves and against their scores, and then identify potential gaps in their transformation. That's some of the nations in global industry development on 4.0. Okay, we go to the next step. However, meanwhile, in Malaysia, the manufacturing sector remains as the backbone of Malaysia economy. And then this manufacturing sector contribute about 23% to the national GDP, amounting to 283.3 billion and growing at 5.1%. And then this growth was supported primarily by a continued expansion in the E&E cluster, despite a normalization from global technology upcycle in 2017. And then our export to mainly manufactured product, that is almost 80% of the total gross export, amounting to 835 billion. And then you can see that the manufacturing sector is mainly supported by SMEs. Okay, for Malaysia, while we have about 40,000 manufacturing establishment in Malaysia, ranging from small to large local and MNCs, 97.1% of these are actually SMEs. And then although the service sector is the largest contributor to our national GDP, but the manufacturing sector is a deemed key for sustainable economic growth. And if you notice that most advanced countries still keep a portion of manufacturing sector to be a pillar of the economy despite growth in service sector. And then for industrial national, next slide. I think previous, before that. The picture of Tun Dr. Mahathir after this. Oh, okay. Oh, this one. Sorry. Okay. So thank you. As a response to the 4IR and to drive the Industry 4.0 adoption in manufacturing, Malaysia has launched the Industry Forward National Policies on Industry 4.0 on 31st October 2018. And then this national policy was co-developed by MITI and other key ministries such as Ministry of Finance, Ministry Economic, Ministry of Human Resource, and then Ministry of Health. To shape the future of manufacturing services in Malaysia, the Industry Forward provide a concept and comprehensive transformation agenda in creating and enabling ecosystem for adoption of Industry 4.0 by companies in the manufacturing and manufacturing related service sector, particularly for SMEs. And then in this implementation of policy, we contribute Malaysia achievement of some of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We have the if you heard about National Sustainable Development Goals, such as Goal 8, Decent Work Economy, Industry Innovation Infrastructures, and others. So I think I just missed a slide. Okay, so the next slide, Industry Forward in a nutshell. I think you need to go back. I think you need to go. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So in a nutshell, that the policy envisions Malaysia to be, of course, the strategic partners for smart manufacturing and related services in Asia Pacific, and to ensure continued relevance and importance for Malaysia in global and regional production value chains. And then, of course, this to primary destination for high-tech industry to remain preferred manufacturing location for global and regional years. And then for total solution provider for advanced technology. And then this objective or Industry Forward are threefold. That is consists of attract stakeholders to Industry 4.0 technologies and processes. C, create the right ecosystem for Industry 4.0 to be adopt and align existing and future development initiative. And then T, transform Malaysia industry capability in both a holistic and accelerated manners. And then these three shift factors have been identified. You can see the synchronization from our 11 Malaysian plan, whereby we also have people, process, technology. And then this three shift factor identified as a key digital transformation consists of people, process, technology, and need to be optimized in balanced manner because Industry 4.0 adoption is a good that are implemented around it. And then the process are only as good as the people who execute them. Okay. We look on the four goals for the nation. Hopefully everybody can still continue with me, all right? And then this policy aims to improve productivity, expand the overall contribution of the manufacturing sector to the national economy, strengthen innovation capability, and drive the shift of higher scale workforce. For example, to be more specific, we aim to achieve the four national goals in our national policy for Industry Forward by 2025. And then one of that is the increased level of productivity and to strengthen our innovation capacity and capabilities as reflected by improvement in Global Innovation Index ranking from 35 to top 30 and to increase the number of high-skilled workers in the manufacturing sectors. So I think for the next slides is only the summary of our national policy. I would like to move straight to the next slide, the focus sector. Okay, thank you. Okay, the focus sector outline in the policy align with the catalytic and high potential sectors highlighted previous 11 Malaysian plan. That is E&E, electrical, electronic, manufacturing, and equipment, chemical, medical devices, and aerospace. However, even though we have this focus sector, whoever participate and also would like, whoever sectors who would like to join, to participate in this initiative are also open for them. Then on top of the Industry Forward, also focus on a sector like automotive, F&B, whereby furniture, which is high level independency sector, as well as manufacturing related services. As I mentioned, yes, we have the 5 focus sector, however, we also support with other sector. Okay, next slide. To just highlight a little bit again on the strategies, this policy is essence outline 13 broad strategies for Malaysia to embark on a journey that will transform the manufacturing industry landscape over the next decade. We believe that this journey to Industry 4.0 adoption is anchored on the 3 shift factor, as I've mentioned. So our readiness assessment for MPC itself, we are focusing on strategy R2, okay, creating a mechanism to assess readiness of manufacturing and related services firm. Whereby if you look at the strategy for F1, is also support with other ministries in I think the red color, maybe I can read for you. For example, for F, led by the Ministry of Finance. The infrastructure also lead with Malaysia Industrial Group Higher Technology, we call it MIC. And then for R, FIR, led by MITI itself. Then for skills and talent, lead by Ministry of Education. And then for the technologies, we have agencies that support, for example, Malaysian Digital Development Corp. We call it MDEC, right? And also Malaysian Technology Development Corporation, MTDC. So these are the strategies that consist for others ministry also to join and to support. So every quarter right? We have a discussion and meeting on the progress of this initiative. And of course, for MPC, we are given the to focus on the strategy R2. Okay, I just go down from industry forward policies, just a little bit. Okay, for the next slide. Maybe we can, okay. So this program, as I mentioned, create platform. Then this aim, we have 5 aims. 1, to assess, provide indication on the level of readiness, identify areas of improvement, recommend action, and we come up with a developing industry adoption baseline. And then, of course, this initiative strategies propose a prerequisite for future Industry 4.0 incentive. So that's why those companies who would like to undertake this initiative, right, under industrial forward policy, using the, we call it, I will mention after this on the readiness assessment. So it will become the prerequisite for industry to venture on the incentive given by government. Okay, but how we create that? I think for next slide, enabling technology to support, I think everybody knows that these are the pillars, the heart of Industry 4.0 that rapidly involving the converging technology. So we have the augmented, additive manufacturing, integration, AR, IoT, and so on. Okay. So next slide, the industrial forward strategy enablers. I think I also have already touched on this. We have first, financing, infrastructure, regulatory, okay, the upskilling, and also the technology. So I think I have shared with you the ministries that responsible on this initiative. So next slide. Okay, this funding and outcome, maybe I just run through on the initiative because you can maybe you can browse in the internet to look on the details of national policy industry forward. You can just download it, the national policies, and then after that you can have a read. You can read on the details of the initiative. So this one is for funding and with incentive. For example, the development and adoption Industry 4.0 process may require substantial investment. Then hence the first strategy enablers aim to provide funding and outcome-based incentive. This funding encouraging companies to adopt manufacturing technologies, process and invest in R&D. For example, if you look on the DISF, it's just one of the grant provided by government, right, on reimbursable basis to cater for expenditure incurred for R&D, training, modernizing, licensing, and so on. And then on the HIF matching grant, okay, this is one-to-one on reimbursable basis to cater the expenditure incurred for R&D. So when we go to the next slide, on the enabling ecosystem efficient digital infrastructure, and we go to the next infrastructure, it covers digital connectivity, integration of government processes, and link service provider with manufacturers. So this one, we look on the space, for example, service provider plays an essential role as such, involving service provider and linking them to the manufacturing firms, especially SMEs. It is important to create holistic, effective Industry 4.0 ecosystem. So MITI and MPC, Ministry International Trade Industry, is in the midst of consolidating a database of technology and solution providers. So we include the solution providers in this matter. And then, okay, I go to the next initiative on regulatory. Then this one is a third strategy enablers, aim to drive industry adoption and improve regulatory. And then since its launching, this outreach program has been undertaken nationwide to increase awareness on Industry 4.0. This is what MPC given a mandate to drive accelerated transformation and develop industrial forward readiness assessment. And then this under this national readiness assessment, we have two incentives offered for companies which undertake readiness assessment. We have government funded RA for SMEs 500 our target, and then of course the tax incentive up to 27,000 for others company, others SMEs for large and manufacturing who wanted to undertake this readiness assessment, but they need to pay by their own. For government funded only for SMEs. So every year we are given the KPIs to assist especially SMEs to undertake this readiness assessment as a platform to identify their gaps implementation the 4.0. Okay. And then we go to the, I think maybe the glance through the upskilling part, okay, capabilities and workforce, then with additional Industry 4.0 modules, we also have the national dual training system. We will continue to provide industry-oriented training program that combines workplace and institutional training. So on the upskilling existing and producing future talents, we are also focusing on the training and development skills. And then for the next slide, the assessment, the access to smart technologies and standard. This is the large enablers. Then this establishment of technology labs and collaborative platform, especially through public and private partnership. Again, we have the collaboration. It's important to disseminate Industry 4.0 technologies and transfer. And then we also have the, we call it a smart partnership collaboration program. And then this is collaboration between multinational companies and SMEs to improve proliferation of smart technologies and boost company productivity and business growth. Okay, and then I would like to share with you, okay, what does industrial forward means for next slide. Okay, right, thank you. Okay, this again we have strategic enablers, 13 strategies, and then this industrial 4.0 adoption, it comprises a complete restructuring of production processes, transforming analog and centralized workflow into digital and decentralized production processes. Then, although the policy outlined 11 enabling technologies to support Industry 4.0, companies are encouraged to commence this journey by addressing their current pain points with a few enabling technology first. And after that, once the initial adoption result in positive outcome, companies may scale up the implementation to yield greater benefit. That's why I will touch a little bit on the readiness assessment, what it's all about. For readiness assessment, so we can see that the trend required, I mean the adoption required for them to come up with the result, and after that to undertake the incentive or initiative given by the government, for example grant, funding and others. So for next slide, these are the process flow. In short, the incentive given by government, and then the process flow that SMEs need to undertake after they participate, they register their form. And then maybe I will not share on the videos, but I would like to get some brain for everybody. Before we continue, it is a short one. Can everybody just put down your pen, okay, your pencil. You can have a free mind. We're going to have a brain exercise, everybody. Can we have the brain exercise? Okay.
Yes, Director Sally.
Okay.
So may we request the participants to kindly turn on their video and follow Director Sally for her brain exercise.
Actually, I feel that everybody are really concentrating on the policy something, right? So everybody looks really tense. So just a short one, get everybody to be in the free mind. So I start. So maybe you can have a look, and then you try to do by your own, right? So this is an example when you got stressed, you got too many things to think, and then you need to exercise your brain. So you do you have some music something? If you have, maybe okay. We start with this one, and change, right. Some open their fingers, some very good, good, again another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, good. Another, is that here? This one, continue. Good. Mr. Jerry try to adjust their fingers. His fingers. Good. Amazing, very good. Mr. Francis, very good. All right. 3, 2, 1. Last one. We go like this. Touch your nose, your ears. Clap. Change. Clap. Change. Clap. Change. 3, 2. One faster. Good. We have one last one, right? Can you do your fingers like this? Another one, thumbs. This one. Then change. Very good. Change one. Mr. Jenny, I can see your fingers. You're cheating, you're cheating. All right. 3, 2, 1. Whichever you feel stressed, right? You can have this brain exercise. So we continue. Next one on this readiness assessment. It just maybe the faster one, right? About the industrial forward. Thank you. Next one. Again, next. Next. I would like to share with you, this is the readiness assessment. The comprehensive program that helps firms assess their capabilities on readiness, adopt Industry 4.0. This is what we have as a measurement, it's an instrument to identify gaps. So next slide. I'm not touching on the Industry 4.0 because I know that everybody have already known the transition happened in the 4.0 from the first, second, third, and fourth. And then for next slide, This is the what you call it SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, that originated from UN, United Nations. So our 4.0, of course, our basis, we are following these two pillars to support the two supporting goals. It's called supporting goals number 9 and 12. For 9, of course, for the industry innovation infrastructure, and then for number 12, we are looking on the sustainable programs, sustainable recovery plans, especially after the pandemic. So next slide. I would like to go direct to the slide readiness assessment. Okay, this is a guideline. I think maybe the organizer can go next one. Next one. Okay. This is the readiness assessment that I would like to share with you. It's a guideline developed through intensive literature review and consultation by multiple ministries, agencies, and academia. And then the process of verification was also undertaken with several profound international organizations to adopt best practices accordingly. Then this guideline is a test on pilot companies from various sectors and sizes to determine its validity. And then next slide. Industrial readiness assessment is they consist of trained so we help companies to identify the readiness industry 4.0. We are providing the assessor to go to the companies to assess their companies according to the criteria. For the next slide, maybe I can share just a simple one on our criteria that consists of people, process, and technology. We can have a look on the for example, process improving manufacturing and the whole business processes by encouraging and smart and strategic public-private partnership. And then for people, we are putting people and the entire organization as a priority, because when we talk about 4.0, you are not talking only on the technology, but you need to have the people itself and the process for improving the system, and then after that you are talking about the technology. But somehow for SMEs in Malaysia, when they embark on the readiness assessment, they are jump to the conclusion that yes, they need the technology improvement. But however, for our readiness assessment, for our evaluation, we are also focusing on the readiness of people towards to support this national policy 4.0. Okay, and then next slide. As I mentioned, okay, this we have the percentage focusing on our evaluation, 50%, 30%, and 20% on people. Then the concept for 3 shape factor, 8 trust, and 21 dimension. Again, maybe next slide, you can have a look on technology. You are focusing on asset intelligence, shop floor intelligence, the connectivity, and then for next slide. Okay, next slide. Okay, we are in this process that consists of product management, operation management, then supply chain, and then for people. Okay, next one. For people, we are looking on the transformation, human capital development, and others. So next slide. These are the criteria for SMEs in Malaysia. For them to really look into the eligibility for SMEs to undertake this readiness assessment. We start the manufacturing. There is a certain criteria. For example, the sales turnover, we look on the employees, the total number. This is the definition, the definition using in Malaysia. And then for the for those SMEs who like to participate to undertake the assessment, we have the prerequisite question that they need to fill in. For example, the company, and I think also participants also can have a look on MPC's website and also the MITI's website to look on the form itself. I don't want to share the details of the form. Maybe I think Mr. Ivan can only browse the flip through on the form. They consist next slide. They consist of 4 parts. One part is a profile, interest, 4.0, term and agreement. So maybe the organizer can only browse through. Next. Okay. The part 1. Okay, next. This is the form. I don't want to have the details. Next. Okay. The part 1, they look on the website, the manufacturing, the focus of organization, division, their sectors. Okay, next slide. Okay, the part 2, their interest. In this question, we need to know their interest, their focus, their objective to undertake this readiness assessment, because we don't want those who participate. It's a matter of trying. I mean, you don't know where to focus. That's why if you see on the question, they need to at least have the basic implementation of 4.0. Okay, and then next slide. Okay, part 3. Okay, next. This one to look on the currently adoption of initiative related with 4.0. For example, in their production, if they have this initiative, inventory, digital, and so on. And then next. Okay, and then of course, the next part is a term of agreement. Yes, of course, if you like to register, they need to have the agreement that yes, they will promote it, they will given the information whenever required by the secretariat. Okay, and then I like to highlight on the what going to SMEs get after under readiness assessment. Maybe you can go to the next slide. Okay, next. Oh, okay. We already done our exercise. Next. Okay. This is my interesting because next. Okay. This is the assessment process. In short, after registration, they have the technical reviews, and then after that, they're going to have assessor that have select by the secretariat MPC. Then after that, they come up with the report, and then they come up with the report and recommendation. When the next slide. Okay, Ivan. Okay. This is the process of our on-site assessment. But what I'm going to share with you next. Okay. This example of the study, those companies have already undertaken this assessment. See, we provide the recommendation, and then they will know their level of 4.0 adoption. From here, okay, next slide. Okay. Okay, this is the band according to the technology, process, and people. So our assessor, we use and then we provide this recommendation to companies. Right, then we can see the computerized, diagnostic, predictive, shop flow, adaptive, the interconnection between the technology itself. Next, and then After that, we look on the band level of the processes. And then next, we look on the leadership dimension on the adoption of technology initiative in organization, especially for SMEs. So this one will provide to the SMEs. Then after that, they will know their level, their recommendation based on our expert recommendation or assessor recommendation to them. Okay, next. Okay. Then after that, at the end of the day, we will also provide to them their profile according to this level. So the SMEs, the organization, they will know their readiness profile according to the marks given, according to the band previously. Then after that, they know that this level. For example, in Malaysia, most of them are in the band number 2, the newcomer, right? So I can say that most of them have interest to pursue Industry 4.0, but very minimal efforts or initiative. I'm not sure. You can have a similar assessment. I mean, to undertake to look on the level of SME adoption in technology. So we divide it according to this band or readiness profile. Okay, next. Okay, I think maybe I can skip this one. The report structure. The snapshot of shift factor. Then this radar chart also will be given to the companies. Then to understand their profiling, and then their competencies, the automation adoption, and also the process improvement undertake in organization. Somehow, when they talk about 4.0, then we will come across that. Oh, okay. Oh, so we need a machine. So we need to invest or something. But if the company will have this one, so they know that which to tackle the improvement, the stages, and on 4.0 adoption. Okay, next one. Okay, maybe I just skip this one. Okay. Actually, it's too many things to share with you. I think the organizer may share this slide to you. Maybe you can have a look on the information. But Ivan, I would like to focus next slide on the this is as I mentioned just now. Next one. After they got the report, and then they will come up with a milestone and what we're going to have, what we're going to do after the implementation after they undertake the readiness assessment. So, next one. Alright, this is scoring as I mentioned before. Okay. Okay. An example of the reporting, the assessment report that SMEs will get, then our assessor will provide to them. So they will know the level, the achieve, the improvement planning, the opportunities of improvement, the findings in improvement. Okay. Next one. Is it stop? Oh, okay. Or time's up. All right. Okay. Then again, this is an example of assessment report. Next one. Okay. And then I think I also would like to take sometimes just a short one, the incentive related with 4.0. Okay. Okay. assessment is example of the government initiative doing by our initiative by Mampu, whereby to integrate the and secure digital services under information plan. However, this website is still available. Even though we are come forward towards to in 12 Malaysian plan, and then SMEs, even though government will provide these details in this website. Next one. Then after that, this website also they will they will have the digital initiative done by certain agencies. Then they will link this initiative to that direct to the agencies. And then next one. Okay. You can have a look on the external links. This is also external links on government, in the government Malaysia, for certain agencies that might interest the SMEs and also the people to browse it. I mean, to undertake what are the initiative, what are the current initiative doing by government. Okay, next one. Okay. The current one on the Digital Economic Task Force, this is one of the initiative done by, we call it, we have already take the Readiness Assessment. This one initiative done by another ministry, whereby they provide the Industrial Forward Intervention Fund. And then this is financial support facilities, especially for SMEs and in manufacturing and manufacturing related services, the Embrace 4.0. And then this is completed by government funded. And so one of the agencies, we call it MIDA, Ministry Authority, right? They provide this grant, they call it matching grant, and then the maximum grant is 500,000 ringgit Malaysia. And then they have the matching grant 30%, 70%. 70% of total grant we provided in upfront for the company, subject to the approval by the committee, whereby the balance of the remaining grant will be on reimbursable basis, which will be deliberated by that agency. Okay. Okay, next one. This is also government has also introduced they call it DISF, the Domestic Investment Strategic Fund, under the budget. Okay, and then this one provide matching grant in the form of 60-40 ratio, based on reimbursable basis to Malaysian companies which has undertake the Industrial Forward Readiness Program. Okay, and then we look on the another ministry, they call it MDAC, I mentioned just now, right? Next one. Okay, next one. Okay, MDAC is one of the government agency, okay, under Ministry of Communication and Multimedia, and successful leading IT and digital economic growth in Malaysia. So this one, next digital economy, the new heights. Malaysian government draft a number of policies roadmap to strengthen a business environment that provide companies with opportunities for continued growth. So when you browse in MDAC website, okay, we have a few initiatives done by MDAC, provided, for example, National Industrial Forward Policy, National E-Commerce Roadmap, and others. This one is an initiative. So in every what we call it initiative done by companies, so they can have a look under the suitable matching initiative provided by MDAC. So they can browse it, they can participate it, and then according to their needs. And then next slide. For example, I take one example, National Industry Forward Policy. This is the access to smart technologies and standard. Then this establishment, digital technology labs in National Industry Forward Policy under my MDEC. Then of course they will provide public-private partnership, create one understanding, and then facilitate the transfer of knowledge. And then this establish and implemented standard for interoperability, quality and safety for smart manufacturing industry. And then they have the intensify research, innovation, they focus on commercialization and entrepreneurship programs, activities to support and advance priority sector. Okay. Another initiative, next slide. Digital economy for people, for businesses. So one of the example, government initiative focus on digital economy for people that are offering opportunities to Malaysians from all walks of life. And then this program all Malaysian and designed to open up additional income avenues. They would like to open the shop, provide new skills, offer opportunity to thrive in the new digital economy. And then this advancement in technology continue to disrupt the traditional workspace and has become increasingly important the future proof of nation workforce for the digital era. Then this also launch in partnership with public and private academic institution. Then the talent development initiatives aims to empower the nation youth by providing them access to the digital ecosystem. So their goals, goals to have youth drive digital innovation in the not
Now,
so
you would
distant
notice
future.
that the LED
So
is turning on
they're
and off
focusing
in a
on the
faster
talent
interval.
development, especially among youth. Okay, and then next slide.
So there you
I
go.
come to
That's one
the
example of the
last
sketches
topic
that are
on
provided
the
by Arduino in the
industry forward
software.
challenges and
In the
implementation.
next video, you will
Okay,
keep learning
in
more
our
about
view,
the other functions of
Malaysian
the ICT.
National Digital Strategic Plan, right? Tailored outcome-based R&D and innovation research in collaboration between academia and industry. So that's why robust intellectual property right support innovative activities by increasing the appropriability of the returns to innovation, enabling innovators and others. So this is the when you craft a plan, you should address with your 5 pillars related with digital. And then next, of course, digital economy has played an increasingly significant role as a new driver for Malaysian economy and to drive transformation in our daily life, social economy as well as business dealing and operation. So for the challenges, of course, must work together with the parallel policy push in accelerating and deepening the evolution of ICT and digital. And for the leadership and infrastructure, important prerequisite for Malaysia to become the leading mover in harnessing the opportunities. And the last one, the challenge, look on the skills and digitally secure people
Good
are
morning,
needed to lead
singers.
and are
I'm
able
Mark
to
Jason
drive the
De Jesus.
innovation. Okay, I come to the
The
last
breakdown
slide.
of the blink code.
Okay,
In our next lesson, we will
keep moving
discuss more
forward. What
about
we're going
programming
to
the Arduino.
aim.
See you
Of course, the management must
soon,
take a
thinkers.
holistic views of digital with a mindset of constant innovation and technology integration with this. Of course, they prioritize digital adoption in cooperation by first identifying what are essential capabilities for employees and for customers. So, for example, the CEOs, organization, the management must take a holistic views of digital with the mindset, and then prioritize digital adoption in cooperation by first identifying what are the strategies for them and the prioritizing the strengthening economy to increase customer base. So we need to move forward to drive the technologies and this digital initiative in our country. So with that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Sally, for a very informative and detailed presentation, plus the brain teaser. One of the participants commented that the brain teaser is much harder to do than to understand Industry 4.0. So we will now proceed to the open forum for the participants. You may write your questions in the chat box. Kindly write your name and agency first so that we can acknowledge you. So while waiting for the participants, so I'll ask the first question first. So in the first part of your presentation, Director Sally, I think indirectly the message is that you can't ask MSMEs or the industries to embrace fourth industrial revolution without government embracing it first, as enshrined in your national plan. So my question is, how do you manage to implement these plans, your 9th, your 10th, your 11th Malaysian plan, given the risk of your changing political leadership, especially in your political landscape currently in Malaysia, that you have a different ruling party compared 6 decades ago? So how do you manage to ensure that the plans are consistent with your 2020 vision?
Okay. Wow, very interesting question actually, especially during this transformation of leadership in Malaysia. However, I know that for Malaysia it's very tough. The situation felt by especially for SMEs to understand the what you call it. Sometimes they got a different direction, the changes of direction immediately. However, that's why we craft the important to craft the policy. It's really important. So whoever change the leadership, I mean the political issues come facing by our government, but our policies is there. For example, we are lucky that even though there are changes, for example, the policy launched by Dr. Mahathir, but currently they are, leading in different ministry and different people. However, the policy is still continue. We are lucky that the government, the ministry have take this policies as a main basic. So that's why they are not running far from that. Then you talk about what we do is that again this also not only drive from the government, the support from the agency, the support the industry, the needs also can be need to be considered, need to be taken of. That's why even though I can say that it is really influence, but not really influence the policies. The policy is still continue even though the changes of government.
Thank you, Director Sally, for that answer. We're still waiting for the questions from the participants. I think they're still digesting the inputs that they have received from you. It seems that they have been overwhelmed from the detailed discussion that you have provided as of Industry 4.0.
Actually, I'm not planned that. I have too many information shared. I thought this is enough. But however, when you start talking, okay, when you start talking, so too many things coming. Okay, so I have mentioned what are the barriers in the implementation of Industry forward in your companies. Okay, one of the barriers happen is that the understanding itself, right? The understanding from industry why 4.0 initiative. This is one of the to get them understand the importance of the implementation of 4.0. That is the biggest challenges, barriers that we face. Even though this is what you call it, the fully funded government given to the SMEs, but we really have difficulties to promote, to encourage them to participate. Really, I really have very huge challenges. However, I mean, we need to have a more promotion, more awareness on the understanding. The understanding is the most important, right? Rather than yes, you're going to have a great policies, you're going to have a great the mechanism. You're going to have a huge grant given, but if you the one who don't want to change, it's nowhere to go actually. So what we are supposed to do, what we must do first to give them the importance, the adoption of 4.0 in their companies. So if the readiness assessment for manufacturing SMEs a continuing initiative, yes. We craft this until 2025. So every year we're going to have a KPI, call it, to get more companies, especially the SMEs, to participate. Yes. For next year, we're going to have about 300 companies. For this year, we have about we managed to get 400 companies that have already undertake the readiness assessment. I saw that one of the participants raised up their hands.
Okay. We can recognize Mr. Inji Mark. Mr. Tupas, you can ask your question.
Yes, Director, good morning. Just question. Do you think there would be a displacement of human resource if Industry 4.0 programs implemented?
Sorry again, is that there will be a human resource?
Displacement. Will there be layoffs?
Layoff, the replacement.
Yeah.
I think it is a common perception when you embark the 4.0. That's why I'm touching. I mean, I mentioned about the understanding, right? And the understanding. But because sometimes when you talk about technology, they're going to replace you, the people, the staff, and others. But that's why in our part, I mean, in our responsibility, that's why we craft our policy using three main criteria or segment that people process technology. Because in this, we need to make them understand that when you embark the 4.0, you do the 4.0 activities, you also will tackle on the people side, the skill side, right? The upskilling side, the downskilling part. So this is the element that you need to make them really know that these are the important, not only focusing on technology. Yeah.
Yes. Next question will be from Ma'am Roxanne Yap of our National Economic Policy Agency in Region 6. Ma'am Roxanne Yap, you can ask your question.
Yes.
Are you still there?
Hi, Mercy.
We have a very I appreciate the discussions that we had this morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So I actually very much enjoyed your presentation. There was so much to be learned from your experience in Malaysia. I just would like to ask, I've also written it here in the chat box, in what aspects of the implementation have you had much success on your Industry 4.0 projects, and what aspects did you have much difficulty in your implementation?
Okay, thank you. What are the aspects of the implementation of programs that can be successful? Is it? It is successful.
Yes.
So in our success rate is whereby where the companies at the end of the day they can get the intervention fund to continue their journey. That is the I think the most successful rate. I mean, I can say in adoption of 4.0 in Malaysia. But yes, for NPC itself, we only focus on the identifying gaps to the companies. The importance identifying gaps, of course, to look on the what kind of implementation to focus first, rather than they sometimes when you talk about industry, they may not know how to start it first on the adoption of 4.0. You don't know where to start it. Is that they need to go to training as a conventionally done previously, or they need to start with the technology, or maybe you can need to focus on the process. So that is the when you talk about difficulties, this is where the difficulties come in. To bring them on this readiness profiling, and after that we already getting the chart with them. We're getting the recommendation from our. We have to of 4.0. So we will. I personally, maybe after this we can on the what SMEs get. Maybe you can look on the slide, especially on the reporting mechanism. I share with you the 3 types of reporting example. Maybe can from there, I think SMEs really very much appreciated on that information.
Yes, thank you very much, Director Sally.
Thank you.
Related to that, Director Sally, in terms of reaching the MSMEs for their readiness assessment, how many of them are already in or part of your project? In terms of percentage, are all your MSMEs are being part of the readiness assessment?
Okay. Okay. I can share you the numbers. For 2019, we got about 508 companies, SME companies, who already undertake the readiness assessment. And for 2020, despite the pandemic happened, however, we managed to get about 380 companies, SME companies who already undertake this readiness assessment. I think, however, that is the approved readiness assessment. But out of them, we managed to get about 1,000 participants that have given us the interest to participate. However, we also need to look on the budget given, and then the criteria on SMEs that I have already shared with you. That from there we are screening them because we don't want, but some SMEs also have the biggest shareholder behind them. So we really want those MSMEs really genuine. I mean, they are really required for this adoption of a government fund.
Yes. Follow-up questions from Mr. Abram Uriarte regarding the increase of employment. These include foreign workers or all locals when it comes to Industry 4.0?
Actually, for in our criteria, we include only for the we will look on the portion of the local and also the foreign workers. There is some allocation, some percentage on the selection process of SMEs. So it's not mean that they can't have the foreign workers, but they need to go with the percentage of the qualification.
Okay, if there are no other questions from the participants, our last question will be, can you elaborate more on the government incentives for MSMEs if they embrace more Industry 4.0 technologies?
To elaborate more on government incentives, I need to have the second session. Okay. However, I share with you on the slides. Actually, for the government incentive, we have a lot. We have a lot of agencies offered the government incentives pertaining the 4.0 technologies. As I mentioned, MDAC, the Ministry of Science Technology, Ministry of Development and Entrepreneur. We have a lot of incentive. Just because one of the challenges SMEs didn't know where to find the incentive, right? That is one of the biggest challenge. Yes, they know that. They maybe they need to do some work. Sometimes our low take-up rate of this government incentive also faced by the government, because very low SMEs take-up rate knows the government incentive appear in their website provided by the government. Yeah.
Let me have a follow-up question on that. Sorry. Let me have a follow-up question on that. After the MSME received the assessment report, the readiness report, do you have a follow-up intervention to know if they are actually implementing it, and what happened if the MSME are not implementing what they are supposed to implement after receiving the government grant?
Okay, it is a good question actually. Those after we have already undertake the readiness assessment, they need to go to another agency. We call it MIDA, Agency of Investment, that have given a mandate on the intervention fund. Then this committee, that is a committee that will be the evaluate according to the phases of the implementation. So if you can say that we will monitor the progress those SMEs who are really interested to go for intervention implementation. We will be evaluate according to the phases. So there's no excuse for SMEs. Maybe difficulties and challenges may face. Yes, I admit it. But however, our expert will monitor, government will monitor it according to the phases. So they will report their progress to our committee.
Okay. My final question will be, sorry. I'm interested on your assessor. Are these all government officials, are your assessor, or and how do you train them, or do you have training for private individuals as a consultant?
Okay. For our assessor, they consist of agencies and also the private. Okay. We want to create the transparency on evaluation. Okay, so however, before they go to the field of assessment to become the assessment body, they need to undergo the training, of course, some examination, the process and procedures for their qualification. And then that one also done by MPC. They need to have maximum for organization. There's no individual. It is based on organization. So this organization need to have minimum 10 assessment in their organization. So the minimum 10 assessment. Then this one will be trained by MPC, by our expert. Then after that, then they can go for the assessment.
Okay, thank you. It looks like we've covered all the questions from the participants. Director Sally, is there anything else you wanted to say, your final statement before we wrap up?
Nothing much. Just I wish to the participants who you are. Where you are, right? I really happy to share the information with everybody. Really an honor for me to share the information. Then I'm sorry, too many information that I am sharing with you.
No problem.
I have too many information, but my intention is that for sharing, for us to share the best practices, and then maybe somehow the next level, if those who like to have collaboration with Malaysia, especially for with MPC, really open my hand and my heart, right? I really appreciate. Maybe can have. We can contact your program manager to have my email or something, and then I really appreciate cooperating with everybody. Thank you very much for attending my session. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sally. That ends our open forum. We would like to express our gratitude to Director Sally for accepting our invitation and for supporting this capability building initiative to help Philippine public sector in assisting MSMEs. So before we end today's session, may we request everyone to turn on their camera so that we can have a class picture. Is it okay with you, Director Sally, to have a class picture? Part of the Philippine culture. Every time a session ends or a webinar ends. So, ready? Everyone, kindly turn on their camera. 1, 2, 3, smile. Again, one more. So, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you, and that concludes our second webinar session. See you all on our last webinar session, where we will showcase India, that will be conducted on December 7. The Google Meet link will be sent to your respective email addresses at least a day before the event through an email advisory and Google Calendar invite. We will keep you posted of any changes for this schedule. May we request you to please accomplish the session and resource person evaluation sheet by clicking the link in the chat box. This can be completed after you leave the platform. Your feedback will be valuable in improving the delivery of this webinar series. We will also use this to validate your attendance. To meeting you all on the final week of this webinar series. Thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much. Okay, sorry for the form. We'll check.
No longer
Apologies for that. We will change the setting. Apologies for the technical problem. Kindly check the link that I have posted in the chat box for your evaluation. I think it's already working. Thank you. Okay, yeah, it's already working. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience.